that if we don't have this experience ourselves, we don't think about so much. But I will share with you that 60% of military families live in civilian communities. 60%. So if there's a military installation near you, they're probably your neighbors. And they are really easy to reach out to if you know what to do. So let's get some tips from an expert who knows this work well. I'd like to call forward Nicole Rawlinson from the Blue Star Families out of Washington, D.C. Hold on. No, you sit down. You know why? Because this whole half, they phoned it in. So let's try it. Let's try it again. We have all the way from Washington, D.C., Nicole Rawlinson from Blue Star Families. That's what I'm talking about. Come on. Here we are.
Every year, 600,000 military families pack up their entire lives into shipping crates, moving trucks, or storage pods, and relocate to another part. Oh, I'm really sorry. Can I? My slides are going crazy. Could you actually just not use slides at all? Oh, that's okay. I really apologize. Everything is kind of. Okay, thank you so much. I apologize. Thank you. Let's try this again. Every year, 600,000 military families pack up their entire lives into shipping crates, moving trucks, or storage pods, and relocate to another part of the country or even another part of the world as they join, progress, or depart from their military careers. The peak months of these many moves is known as PCS season, permanent change of station, except it isn't ever permanent. Most military families will find themselves relocating every 2 to 3 years. They're sent where the needs of the military require, and whole families must find ways to adapt to these new communities they'll call home, even if it's for a short period of time. I have to say, the resilience of military families is extraordinary, just like the extraordinary resilience of nature. Military families have so much in common with the land and natural world all around us. We lose our leaves and grow new ones. We find soil to set our roots down, even adapting to difficult environments to grow. We experience our lives in seasons and learn to thrive in each of them. And I know this because this is my life. I'm a military spouse, and as a military spouse, I've uprooted my family 7 times in the last 10 years. But every time we land in a new place with new surroundings and environmental conditions, we take root in that soil, adapt, and find ways to grow. I remember the first time we moved across the country as a young couple with a baby and just the beginnings of a set of household goods. We drove along the interstate and detoured to survey the land that my spouse swore an oath to protect, and I was proud to call my home. We explored and found connection, comfort, and stability in knowing there was an abundance of natural resources to experience and embrace as we continued on our journey of military life and regular relocations that have continued on. In our world full of change, our constant as a family has been our connection to the outdoors. In every place we've lived, we've created opportunities to spend time outdoors together, to connect with the land, reconnect with each other, and develop bonds within the community. I found my space and sense of place hiking in the Olympics in Western Washington, digging my toes into the sand of the Atlantic in Newport, Rhode Island, and paddling down the Occoquan River in Northern Virginia. My children have explored national parks in several states and earned junior ranger badges. They've made up imaginary worlds in our backyards and found an appreciation for their connection to nature. Now, finding a summer camp or a youth program focused on outdoor engagement in a new place can feel close to impossible due to oddly timed moves or not understanding the fast pace at which registrations fill up for summer, even in the middle of February. I still felt, though, that my kids would have the access to the outdoors they needed, and I knew that that would help them thrive. I feel fortunate to found that sense of stability and consistency for my family, and I want to invite more military families to also feel that sense of belonging, welcoming, and stability when they arrive in a new community and can immediately look to the outdoors as a place of connection, respite, and wellness. And while I wish this was the same story that every military family was able to share, the truth is that military families are struggling to find connections in their communities after a move. Military kids and their families need our support through inclusive approaches to programming, creating inviting spaces, and encouragement to find a connection to their community through the outdoors. Families may need an introduction and a warm invitation to these experiences to become confident in outdoor spaces and opportunities because they might feel like outsiders. That's a part of the lack of the connections. Families don't feel like they belong because they're seen as and often see themselves as temporary residents. Even in a world where people do move with relative frequency, in many cases it's by choice. And so those experiences are pretty different. We really need to ensure we're looking for ways to invite children and families who may not have had those connections made yet, so they're able to grow in these experiences and feel confident to feel a constant and continued connection to the outdoors as they move along their journeys across the country and throughout the world. Just last month, we celebrated the month of the military child. And you may have seen more purple or references to dandelions, the symbolic color and flower of the military child, in your social media thread. Perhaps you saw highlighted statistics around the challenges military children face or examples of their impressive resilience. You may not have as well. With no direction or close proximity to a base, connection or close proximity to a base, it's possible you're unaware of the challenges military families face, and perhaps you're not sure you have any military families in your community at all. I recently had the opportunity to hear Miguel Cardona, the United States Secretary of Education, speak at an event, and he told the audience there is at least one military-connected child in every school district in this country. If every state, every country, every school district is serving at least one military-connected child, then we should all be thinking about how we can support military children. Today, there are over 2 million children of active duty U.S. service members, National Guard, Reserve, and military veterans. On average, military families move every 2 to 3 years, which means by the time a military child graduates from high school, they may have moved 10 or more times and attended anywhere from 6 to 9 different schools. Moving to a new place can certainly build resilience and adaptability in young children. However, repeatedly being new to a community can lead to feelings of isolation and loneliness and have a negative impact on mental health and academic engagement. These feelings of isolation and lack of belonging military families and children can face are a driving force for Blue Star Families. Blue Star Families was founded by military spouses in 2009 to empower active duty military families to thrive as they serve. We're committed to strengthening military families by connecting them with their neighbors, individuals, and organizations to create vibrant communities of mutual support. Every year we field a military family lifestyle survey, seeking out the answers to questions we ask in the experiences of active duty, reserve, guard, and veteran military families. The 2021 annual Military Family Lifestyle Survey revealed that 8 in 10 respondents have been separated from their family or service member in the past 18 months due to military service. 43% of respondents rate at least one of their children's mental health as fair, poor, or very poor. Nearly a quarter of active duty family respondents cite military family quality of life as a top concern, and over half of respondents who have at least one child between the ages of 0 and 12 cite resources for children's activities as a regular need. And lastly, I want to share that 45% of respondents disagree with the statement, "I feel a sense of belonging to my local civilian community." If this percentage of respondents are noting they do not feel a sense of belonging in their communities and are identifying a significant need for more resources for children's activities, we know that it will require a collective and collaborative effort to mitigate the feelings of isolation and exclusion that can come with a lack of sense of belonging. Racial and ethnic identity exacerbates these experiences around a sense of belonging for military families of color. The U.S. military is among the most diverse organizations in the country, yet the experiences of military families of color are distinctly unique. In 2021, Blue Star Families fielded the Understanding the Diverse Experiences of Military Families of Color survey. And 46% of active duty family respondents of color reported difficulty developing a sense of belonging in their local civilian community due to their or their family's race or ethnicity. While we need to ensure we're working to support military children from all backgrounds and identities, we must recognize these unique experiences as we seek opportunities to create a more inclusive outdoors for children and families. I want to make sure military families of color are not only informed of the outdoor opportunities available to them, but they're invited into a community of outdoor explorers. It's a reflection of a personal commitment I have made to the communities with whom I share parts of my own identity. And it's why I do the work that I do. I want to help other families shape their connections and stories while introducing them to spaces that have been carved out for wonder and exploration by all of humanity, and look to welcome them with open arms. And I want your support. This is something the whole community can play a role in solving. At Blue Star Families, I have the opportunity to engage in this essential work of developing opportunities and creating space for families to connect with each other and their communities in outdoor spaces. I embrace it. Advancing towards a more equitable experience in the outdoors requires putting in work, learning about the history of exclusion in outdoor spaces, and proactively approaching our work from a place of recognition, empathy, and inclusion. We've been engaged in training, conversations, and change to ensure outdoor programming is created from an inclusive perspective that will foster the sense of belonging we hope to cultivate. We've taken a critical look at our approach to program development and recruitment. Our recruitment model for our outdoor cohort program asks questions about access, past experience, sense of belonging in parks and outdoor spaces, and it seeks to understand awareness of current resources available to military families and how regularly they are used. Through the development of our cohort-driven program, we created a barrier-free experience for families across 27 states to engage in recreational fishing over the course of the year and multiple engagements through a hybrid mix of outdoor experiences with virtual meetings to connect, share, and reflect. And our families have done more than just learn to fish. They've been introduced to the outdoors and to the stories and contributions of people of color in those spaces, and the historical connections and traditional practices of the people who have been the stewards of that land, both providing mirrors and windows of representation for our participants. We've been building up a community of children and families who will have a connection and sense of responsibility to the planet through conversations around stewardship and supporting a cleaner and healthier environment through actions and advocacy. We also shifted our program approach from parks to outdoors. And while that might sound purely semantic, it was a thoughtful decision to include and recognize the value of outdoor experiences that take place in many forms and in many settings, whether they happen in a national park, along a city path, in a community green space, or in a backyard. And that was a result of embracing the shared narrative of Rethink Outside, a new narrative that approaches an access to the outdoors as a human imperative right, as opposed to something that's just nice to have. We've been working on developing and delivering these programs to help families find connection with each other and their communities as they deal with the stressors of a fast-paced and often changing life from a whole family approach, and through meeting families where they are along the way as well. We understand not all families have the capacity to engage in a cohort program, so we've developed ongoing drop-in experiences in our local chapter locations and have updated our landing page on our website to include more resources and collaborative opportunities for children to get outdoors. Our outdoor experience finder tools for families can be used as they approach the outdoors in whatever way fits their needs. Our programs aim to provide meaningful outdoor experiences to families wherever they might be stationed and whatever their current relationship to the outdoors is. And in all these ways, we're engaging with families across the country that represent a broad spectrum of our diverse and vibrant population of military families. We hosted outdoor events across our organization in 2021, touching over 6,000 participants, and we hope to only continue to increase that number as we move along. We've come a long way in a short amount of time through the power of collaboration and partnership. We've become a member of the Veterans Outdoor Coalition, spearheaded by Sierra Club Military Outdoors, and are engaging with both local and national organizations to bring expanded outdoor programming to military families. We're continuing to dig into this work, growing partnerships with organizations to offer more experiential opportunities, and collaborating with partners to develop resources and activities for military kids to find a connection to their community through nature. These collective efforts have supported our mission to ensure military families are not only aware of the many benefits to spending time outdoors, but also to invite them in by meeting them where they're at. While we've made some great strides, this is simply not our work alone. We need outdoor organizations, out-of-school time programs, schools, and communities to see military families and consider their experiences and challenges when it comes to seeking connections in new places, especially in the outdoors, where that connection can remain a constant in a life full of change. So whether your organization, school district, or government institution is near a military base or not, you can support military children looking to find new connections, friendships, and communities across the country through a connection to nature. So how can you do that? You can create resources that are supportive to military kids. You can connect with the local military presence in your community and let them know what you're doing or plan to do to support families coming into your area. And if you're unaware of the military presence in your community, seek to learn where those places are and who is a part of that community. Perhaps there's a university with an ROTC unit, or a small detachment or recruitment command in your area. All of those military members also have families who are coming with them into those communities. If you are located near a military installation, create a connection with the Morale, Welfare, and Recreation Office at the base near you to understand what gaps in services might exist and how you can support filling them. Collaborate with a military support organization like Blue Star Families on a resource or activity to invite more military families into your community. Consider the impacts of mid-season moves and whether or not your registration policies for activities might be keeping new military-connected children out of your programs. Seek ways to include military children by asking them what they need to feel welcome and included. And pledge to take one concrete action in your community to grow awareness and inclusion for military children in your programming, outreach, and engagement. Our small individual steps can equal one huge step forward if we all move together. And with all we have in common with nature, our resilience, our strength, and our collective diverse beauty, we all deserve a connection to it and all the outdoors have to offer. So I hope that you will join Blue Star Families in our campaign for creating a more inclusive outdoor experience for our military families, children, and communities. Thank you.